You know, because these diesel Mercedes engines, either 240 or 300, well actually the 300 is the one that has more of the problems because it's got the turbo and it's got an air cleaner on the passenger side there. They vibrate like crazy. All diesels do. It's just endemic to the engine. And so one of the things that happens is that the brackets that hold the air cleaner housing onto the car break. They're little rubber mounts, and they look like this. They don't cost very much. You can see that they're rubber in the center, and then they've got little 10 millimeter studs on both sides. This is the thing that breaks. What happens is, because of the heat associated on that side of the engine with the exhaust manifold, the rubber over time just gets hot. And the heat plus the vibration of the engine, that rubber piece breaks in two. And so we need to replace these frequently. And the way you can tell is that air cleaner the air cleaner housing just really starts to vibrate and rattle. And so they're very easy to change. All we need to do is pull the air cleaner and the housing out of there. And all we need to do that is a 10 millimeter socket. And I use a speed handle and an extension. Some people use a screwdriver to get at this one bracket, this one clamp. But I find it easier while I've got the 10 millimeter just to use the whole thing. So let's go see how we would do that. Okay, to take this air cleaner housing off, the first thing is just to disconnect this little plastic pipe. It just comes right off of there. It's real easy. I just usually set it up over on the side. And then the first clamp I want to take off is down underneath. It's the tube that comes from the air cleaner and it bolts onto the turbo down there, and it's a 10 millimeter, and that's where I use this long extension and the speed handle. So my favorite process is to get right down on that bolt right there. That's what I want, really, just a screw, and undo it. And I usually have to put my hand down there because the clamp is going to have a tendency to slide around once it gets loose. But you can see with the speed handle and a long extension, I can get that one loose. That's actually the most difficult one of all of them. Now I want to take the little hose that's at the top of the air cleaner off, and there's a nut right there that I need off. I usually just let it lay there. There are 4 clamps that hold the top of the air cleaner on. If we take those 4 clamps loose, we can pull the top of the air cleaner off, and underneath the top of the air cleaner, housing of course is the actual air cleaner. We'll get that off of there. And then inside the housing there are 3 10 millimeter bolts, evenly spaced. I need to take those off. Once I get them off, then the air cleaner just comes up off of there, and then there's a little rubber seal that holds the front of it to the housing of the turbocharger. And let's just set it aside and look at what we've got. Now these are the culprits. These little things right here, and you see this one is loose. It's supposed to be threaded underneath there, and it just screws right into the body of this T-bracket, we call it. And if you look very, very closely, let me get a pointer. If you look closely, this is the T-bracket. It bolts to the exhaust manifold. You can see that if you look carefully, this one has been welded. These T-brackets break all the time. This one is broke right at the back right there. And so you can buy a new one from your parts source. They cost 40 or 50 bucks, I think. They bolt a couple of bolts here and one underneath. They don't break nearly as often as these rubber mounts break. And so they unscrew. I don't know how tight this one is, if it wasn't too tight. Usually when it's broken though, you just have to take a pair of pliers and grip it and screw it off of there. If I look at a new one, you can see that it's just it's screwed into this thing, which is already tapped out for it. And this one, evidently, the tap, the threads have gone bad. What I'm going to do to solve that problem is just get a 10mm nut and put on the back side of it so that it's tight on there, because it's obviously worked its way loose. If I unscrew it, you can see that the threads in there must be bad. So I just need to put a nut underneath it, and I will. But that's a frequent problem, and we need to periodically change these things. I usually just keep several of them in stock because they break. And the way that you could tell when one's broken is if you just walk up to that air cleaner and shake it. When I get it back on there, you can see how tight it'll be. But if one of these things is broken, it'll be rattly and rattle around there and be real loose, and that's how you can tell that it's broken. It starts really raising cane.